Good day, and welcome to our today's session on building a successful business practice with Microsoft Power Platform. Thank you very much for joining us today. My name is Agne, and me, as well as Tautvydas, we are calling in from Vilnius, where it is today cloudy and something like 1 degree Celsius outside. I am responsible for the strategic initiatives at One Click Factory. And during the recent years, I had an opportunity to work with a significant number of Microsoft partners, helping to define and to accelerate their cloud strategies from the commercial standpoint. We'll host this session together with Tautvydas, who joined One Click Factory last year and brought his extensive engineering experience to the team. Today, Tautvydas is leading the fastest growing Power Platform and CRM team at One Click Factory. Before we dive into the topics of today, let me shortly introduce One Click Factory. We were established 12 years ago to exclusively serve Microsoft partners with upgrade and development services, and therefore to facilitate profit and revenue growth for our partners. We started by providing a professional and engineering services for AX and NAV at that point in time. Later added Microsoft Azure, acceleration to the cloud, and the recent addition was Power Platform and the CRM to our portfolio. Throughout the history of organization, we were very closely collaborating with Microsoft to serve partners. So we have built services like automated Business Central provisioning on Microsoft Azure, validation of ISV solutions for certified for Microsoft Dynamics service. We have a number of nominations and part of the communities that are rather close to Microsoft so that we can acquire knowledge from the first hands and distribute that to the partners. The recent addition was that One Click Factory was nominated to distribute CSP within the Central European market. And with that in mind, today we are talking about the Power Platform, upskilling, readiness, and business growth. So what is our agenda for today? So today, first of all, we will look into the program that we designed together with Microsoft to upskill partners with Power Platform within the Power Platform area. And then I'll hand over to Tautvydas to discuss the Power Platform opportunity. To look into the scenarios, where is the business and how we could serve our customers with Power Platform technology. What bright news Microsoft announced at Microsoft Ignite and how that might impact, your considerations thinking about the Power Platform opportunity. And last but not least is the composition of the team. What you have to think about when thinking about the Power Platform opportunity, and what you have to have in mind when building a team to serve your customers or for your customers to serve themselves. And at the end of the session, we'll have time for questions and answers. Meanwhile, if there is a question, please do not hesitate and post the question within the questions and answers section. We'll try to answer them as we speak, or we'll answer at the end during Q&A part. You are very welcome to vote for the questions other participants posted, and this way we can see where is the energy around which questions. And as well, please feel free to use the chat to share what is the weather around in your area, how you feel in general about Power Platform, where are you joining in today, are you locked as we are in Lithuania, or you can freely travel across the country, have you got your vaccine or not, right? If it turns out that any of the questions we are not answering during the session, we'll make sure we are connecting with you individually and answering that question to you individually. And now with that, let me introduce the Microsoft Power Platform Upskill program that is brought to you by Microsoft and One Click Factory together. So a word about One Click Factory CSP acceleration programs. Having an extensive knowledge within the Microsoft business applications area, and business applications area meaning all Business Central, finance and supply chain management, customer engagement, and new addition of the extensive Power Platform capabilities. One Click Factory is helping partners to start, to grow, and to expand their business utilizing those technologies provided by the Microsoft. And depending on your experience that you are currently having, whether you are part of the Microsoft ecosystem within the modern workplace and considering to add business applications into your portfolio, or whether you are having an extensive experience with Microsoft business applications and considering to bring them towards the cloud, One Click Factory has a step-by-step best practices to accelerate that journey forward. So having that in mind, together with Microsoft, we designed a Power Platform Upskill project, Upskill program, with the objective to activate, of course, partners within the Power Apps and Power Automate area. We do understand that from the Microsoft Power Platform, there is a widely used Power BI element, right, across the region already. So the goal of the objective of this program is rather apps and automate, not the BI part. And when we are thinking about the success, we define that there are several steps that we need to take through to be successful in the future. So first of all, we of course need to define the strategy towards that success. Later on, we have to enable our organization to make sure that we'll be able to execute the strategy that we foresee. Then we are usually generating demand and sales and providing services and supporting our customers. The objective of this program is to help define the strategy and enable your organization within the Power Apps and Power Automate area of your businesses, right? What is it for the participants of the program? So first of all, participants are joining the CSP acceleration program as such. They are part of the Upskill and Acceleration Discovery Workshop, where we would first of all look into or draft the business plan, see how the program provides a good fit to reach your goals, and whether there is a good business case for that. From the enablement part, you see a long list of workshops and trainings where we believe will cover majority of the context pieces needed to be successful with Power Platform in the future. So this session is covering the business practices. Later on, we'll look into the certification requirements. Then we'll have a session on the licensing for the Power Apps and Power Automate, the architectural session on how to utilize the architecture that is provided and what are options to connect and utilize the technology. We look into the how to sell and how to market the Power Platform to your customers. And if you would be thinking about your repeatable intellectual property, what would be the steps needed and requirements and what you would have to consider to bring that to the app source. As well, we do have an extensive training on the advanced Power Platform topics that are related to the certification that are sometimes not used in the practice, but very relevant when you are aiming to acquire the certification. And besides that, we are part of the program is half of the day technical assistance with different topics, whether that's your customer solution related challenge that you've seen, or your repeatable AP related challenge, or maybe you are planning to have App in a Day workshop and would need an assistant to host that workshop with your customer. Of course, there is a lot of gets, on the one side, and there are few of gives. So what is expected from the participant of the program? So participant of the program is expected to pass one of the Power Platform certification exams by end of May. So we still have time for that, right? One exam is rather tricky, the other one is rather straightforward. So I believe that should be easy. And the other requirement is to self-power app or Power Automate license by the end of September this year. The drawback of the program, it would be too good to be true, right? There's a lot of gets and very few gives. But the drawback of the program that unfortunately we shall not be able to accommodate everyone who wants to participate in the program because seats are limited. So Microsoft will make a selection and decision on who could join the program. As you see, we have three parties within this program. The Microsoft who are collecting the feedback and listening to the market needs. The partners who are expected to bring the offerings towards the customers, and One Click Factory assisting partners on their journey towards the Power Platform. What is the timing that we are looking into? Oops, sorry. What is the timing that we are looking into? So please apply by end of March to join the program, and by April 7th there will be a decision made on the ones that are invited to participate in the program. So One Click Factory will reach out to everyone, but especially to the ones that were selected. What shall happen after that? So after that, we'll have an acceleration discovery workshop within a few of the weeks to build a detailed plan. And we'll start enablement activities from April 26th. These, we believe, will happen throughout the end of April and May. And by end of the May, participants of the program are expected to provide certificates of the exams that were passed. As soon as you do have exam passed, not necessarily by May 31st, maybe even earlier, we are ready to provide a half day of technological assistance. So as soon as a certificate is there, but no later than end of June of this year, right? And so the enablement and assistant part of the program will end June 30th this year, and then the last milestone related to the license sale extends to September 30th, the next Microsoft fiscal year. So we are looking forward to start the program with you. So if you haven't applied for the program, please do so, and we'll post a link to where to apply into the chat in a minute. Please wait for a confirmation on April 7th. If you do not have a confirmation or no feedback from OneClick Factory by April 7th, please do not hesitate, or do you have any question, please do not hesitate to reach out via cee@oneclickfactory.com. When you will be invited into the program, we'll expect you to confirm your participation, to join OneClick Factory as your indirect CSP provider, and start executing steps of the program. At this point in time, I'll pause before handing over to Tautvydas and see if we do have any questions related to the program. No questions to the program. I see that some of us are calling in from really, really cold external conditions. Okay, I see that we have questions, but I do not see how to find those questions. Tautvydas, do you see questions?
Yes, I can read them, or like in the right side, there is a Q&A part, and then there is...
Oh, yeah, I found them. Thank you very much. Right side. So I see that one question is related where partner should place license. Should they place the license with their CSP, or those licenses need to go through OneClick Factory? So there is no hard requirement to place licenses through OneClick Factory. These could be placed through your CSP as well, though OneClick Factory would like you to transact licenses through OneClick Factory very much. And then the other question is whether direct partners could participate. So there is no, as well, limitation on the direct or indirect partner participation in the program. The decision on who is participating, who is invited to participate in the program, will be made by the Microsoft. But there is no precondition that direct partners would not be able to participate. And with that, let me hand over to you, Tautvydas.
Thank you, Agne, for a great introduction. So let's move forward. I'll speak about Power Platform opportunity. So maybe just short discourse about my experience. So I'm coming from technical background from IT, but my experience was very mixed. I was doing technical work and then kind of technical marketing. I spent 7 years at Microsoft here in Microsoft Lithuanian office as developer evangelist. And later I was implementing CRM and Power App projects myself. And the last 3 years I was building again Dynamics CRM part and Power App solutions as an architect for the Nordic markets. And now I'm here helping all Microsoft partners to get this Power Platform competence. And so I have both kind of vision from the business side, but also I have very strong technical and architectural understanding about the platform. So let's look into the opportunity. And so overall, we see that Power Platform and Power Apps are really growing recently. So we see really huge interest from the partners, really huge growth of this thing. And the main reason and objective behind that is that Power Platform gives us a new way of app development, which is a low-code development. And low-code allows us to build apps much faster. It allows even non-professional developers to start building apps, start automating processes. Somebody from the business analysts, and who before they were never doing anything, they can start doing the apps and improving the internal IT. They are optimizing their processes. And so this growth, again, Microsoft sees that very much, that many big companies adopting, and what we see locally, and small companies are doing that as well. And one of the really good situation was really not good, but obviously, but it really accelerated Power Platform adoption on the market, because all the businesses and people struggling with the COVID crisis, they were looking for solutions or techniques and technologies how they can get apps much faster developed. Because before it was kind of, you create request for development company or internal development department, you get the estimates that they can start in half a year, and then the whole process takes a long time, and until you get the result. Even though today in the agile world it still takes lots of time and planning and designing the software, and with a huge demand for development, so sometimes it's really hard to get developers and etc. So Power Platform was really the answer to this need, and we saw huge demand and huge uptake for different COVID-19 crisis mitigation apps development, which happened in our partner ecosystem. Of course, Microsoft demonstrating here really good pace and really good area, and the quality of the platform, and how fast they're developing and adding new features and etc. So in most of the areas, they're getting into the leaders positions, whether it would be separately Power BI, or if it's a low-code development platform. It's these evaluations are from the last year, but nothing really changes. Microsoft stays in the leader positions. And another thing is that, again, with the Power Platform, we are enabling new type of developers, and there appears a new terminology, so-called citizen developers. As I already mentioned, the ones who never developed an apps, but they were maybe Excel gurus. Maybe they were doing nice reports. Maybe they were just business analysts or data analysts and etc. Today they can become developers, and that's the way how Microsoft positions that citizen developer status and a new role in all the IT ecosystem. Of course, Power Platform is not only about that, and there is a really strong message that nevertheless you can start with a low code, but if you grow, if your needs become much bigger, and you can't handle with a low code, or the more advanced scenarios are needed. So Microsoft Platform is so interconnected all together that you can very easily plug in different sources like Azure services, Azure functions, and custom developers, and they can work fully together, like complementing each other, and that's where the power comes, because it's not about that you will do just low code, like, I don't know, Excel macros or something, and that's it, and nobody can help you. But you can start Power Apps, you can start Power Automate Flows, and if you're stuck, and then you professional developers can jump into the projects, and they can plug in some real code and you can reuse their components they have developed into your low-code applications or solutions. And that's very, very good overall connected story around that. Okay, so let's again just settle everyone into one page. So what is Power Platform? Of course, probably you have seen this slide so many times. I wouldn't stop here for very long. So there are main components, as Agne already mentioned. So in this particular program, we are not covering Power BI, so we are focusing on Power Apps and Power Automate. Of course, if the solution would require Power Virtual Agent, so we can discuss that as well. And one very important note I'm always starting my Power Apps conversation with is to make more clear distinction that when we speak about Power Apps, it's very important to mention that there are two very distinct types of those apps. And especially when we go into deeper discussion with customers. And if we are already touching any kind of architectural technical topics, we should always make a distinction between these two types, model-driven apps and canvas apps. Canvas apps, it's, as you see here in example, it's something probably more mobile first, and many people think that Power Apps are canvas apps because you have seen in many demos that you get either templates or just empty canvas where you just drag and drop different controls, buttons, lists, you connect with the connectors to different data sources, whether it's inside your organization, whether it's outside of your organization, and etc. And you get some fancy looking nice UIs, and that's the Power App. So in this context, it's called Canvas App, and it has its own scenarios. And when you are starting to implement those, it's probably the first architectural decision which you have to make and decide which path you are going, whether you're going model-driven apps or you're going canvas apps. And model-driven apps is more about models, which stands for data models. It means that you create tables, relationships between them, and then you automatically get the forms and views on top of this, and you even don't need to develop anything. It's something, if somebody still remembers Microsoft Access, so it's conceptually something similar to that. Yeah, if somebody remembers, just raise your hand or put a note in chat. It was one of my first, let's say, acquaintance with the databases. But yeah, so you create tables, connections, and then you get things on top. Of course, later you can do lots of coding around. You can automate in the backend. You can create workflows. You can create business process flows. You can plug in Power Automate and really do the pro coding, like develop plugins with the .NET, JavaScript, and etc. So in the end, it could be a huge business system, business applications. Platform automatically supports you that you kind of first, probably from this sample, you see that it's first suited for the web usage to the browser, but it automatically works on the mobile as the mobile app as well. Okay, let's get into the more architectural view of the Power Platform. So it's very simple. Again, there are two sides, Canvas app on the left, model-driven apps on the right. And we see the connectors, those electrical plugs, where Canvas apps and Power Automate are using them to connect to very different sources. And again, in the center, we have the core elements. So it's Dataverse. Before it was called Common Data Service, which is like a data store. Somebody would say that it's just a database as a service, but actually it does much more than that, because it provides you with all the security model, with the import-export, automatic integrations, possibility to develop and attach the plugins as the business logic inside. It's not only about storing data, but it's lots of additional services surrounded on top of that. So when you compare whether it's just a SQL server or SharePoint to store your data, or Dataverse, so Dataverse is really, really rich and an enterprise-ready solution for this. And you might get many features for free, and you won't need to develop if you would go, I don't know, for SharePoint or for SQL-based data storage. Then Power Automate, again, it connects to all the pieces and Canvas apps and model-driven apps, and also is a gateway to hundreds of different sources outside of, inside Microsoft Cloud and outside of Microsoft Cloud, as well as there is possibility to connect to on-premise system. Microsoft was always about backwards compatibility. So if you have something hidden in your infrastructure, databases, systems, legacy systems, like a gateway system built inside of Power Platform can help you to connect to those data sources and applications. So again, you are not limiting yourself into the cloud only. So it's hybrid solutions, cloud and on-premise. Okay. Now let's just make a quick sum up of the Microsoft Dynamics 365 business applications. Again, this is more technical split about on which platforms they are running. So we have CRM. I will call it CRM. Microsoft kind of dropped the name, but it just uses a bit in marketing, but it's very commonly used, and especially technical people and partners understand easier when we call it CRM part. Of course, there was a customer engagement name. Today, kind of names are disappearing. We speak about only the apps, but when we talk about the architecture, it's very important to understand on which platform it runs, because it differently approaches to development scenarios, integrational scenarios, and etc. Then we have AX-based Dynamics 365 apps, and the Vision-based is Business Central, and also the new apps which are just appearing already purely on Power Platform. Microsoft developing its new applications purely on Power Platform. Okay, so again, now if we are putting those business applications, CRM or ERP based, like F&O and Business Central in the bottom in the dark blue. So here is shown how it's connected to all the rest parts of the Power Platform. So CRM-based apps are actually a model-driven apps themselves, and they live on top of Dataverse. Data source engine and etc. So it's more or less native citizen inside all Power Platform ecosystem. Now, when it comes to ERP applications, of course, Microsoft making a lot of efforts to integrate them and to make it much more seamless. We have connectors to connect Canvas apps and Power Automate to them, and we have a special mechanisms to connect them to Dataverse on the backend level. So it's a dual write or virtual entities or data sync for Business Central. So we can connect those systems together so that the process which is started in CRM, it just passes over to an ERP, gets back with an invoices, and then etc. And so that's one of the techniques how those platforms integrate together. So yeah, I just wanted to cover that so that our conversation further would go smoother, just to understand the big picture. Again, I always like to put the as an architect and the diagram how things are connected together. And now we'll switch more into the business part, but also together with the architectural view. about how Power Platform could be adopted, how it could be used. And this is how we see the all the approaches. Of course, we're learning from our own experience, from our partners, and also, again, it's aligned with the Microsoft vision as well. So now, if we start with number one here, so we have Power Platform as which helps to extend Office 365 or Microsoft 365 subscription by giving you tools and opening new conversations with the customer. We'll just get into more details soon. I just want to address your attention here that those scenarios are divided between where we can utilize existing licenses, and maybe for some partners it will be maybe some news or just a reminder that you have those licenses and you can really utilize and get all the power of Power Platform and adopt in your projects. So this is about the extending Office, extending CRM-based business applications, and extending ERP-based business application, which comes with some Power Platform resources. I'll just get into details very soon. And then we have so-called Xram Platform. I'll again explain it. But this is about creating new applications, creating the custom applications for one customer, or maybe becoming an ISV and start distributing your application. So this already requires, let's say, full Power Apps license, but it gives you the full power and opens all the possibilities of the platform. And then we have scenarios when we can integrate, because as I showed you already, that everything is so connected. CRM just lives on Dataverse. ERP apps are really have the connectivity points, the many connectors, and etc. All the services are connected all together. We can easily extend to Azure and etc. So Power Platform gives us really good opportunity to start integrating systems, whether it would be standard Office or Dynamics apps or your own solutions, or any third-party applications or services outside of Power Platform. And then there are process automation, which Microsoft divides into two areas. So it's a digital process automation and robotic process automation, which is pretty new, maybe term, but coming in a big snowball effect. And I'll just touch again very soon. So robotic process automation scenarios becoming really widely used with the Power Platform tools. Just a reminder that these scenarios are, it could be, if you integrate only, let's say, CRM with an Office 365 with a SharePoint or something, then probably you can utilize the existing license. Of course, if you start adopting it in the wider organization and you want to integrate other systems and third-party systems, so then you already would need the full license again. Okay, now let's go through those steps one by one. I'll try to help you follow. So now we are in the first scenario about extending Office 365 or Microsoft 365 area. So probably if you are a modern workplace partner today, so probably you already using it, and if not, then it's really a big chance to start using this. And if you adopt in a smaller scenarios, then you can grow and expand it to the full Power Platform, and that could be your business growth opportunity. So first, of course, what you get if you just take this license, which is limited and restricted. It means that if you use Power Platform on the Office 365 or Microsoft 365 licenses, you can't use the premium connectors. You can't create your custom connectors and etc. And you should be, restriction is that you should create your apps in the context of Office 365, let's say, which are connecting to SharePoint, to lists, to Teams, and etc. But that's really good start. And if you are SharePoint developer, or you are planning to extend SharePoint or help to adopt SharePoint for customers, it's a really good tool to use that, because it's great technology, slow code. You can embed automate lists. You can use Power Automate, all the approval mechanism from Power Automate. It can help you to extend SharePoint. The same with Teams. And as I mentioned here, so in this scenario, Microsoft actually is doing two covering, let's say, having two paths. One is kind of traditional Power Platform with Office 365 context. Most probably, would be more surrounded around SharePoint. And another area is Microsoft Power Platform within Teams. And it's not just a connector to the Teams or platform and etc. But it means that inside the Teams, Microsoft is building in the kind of a bit stripped out Dataverse and all the Power Automate engine and all the creation tools for you. It means you can create and utilize apps and flows directly from Teams. You don't need to go to developer consoles or other portals and etc. So during pandemics, again, Teams got huge traction here, and people are spending more and more time inside the Teams. So Power Platform engine inside the Teams can be really good. Also, opportunity to talk to your, if you are modern workplace partner, to your customers, and discuss how to adopt the Teams deeper, how to utilize that people are spending more and more times in the Teams. They can just create apps for their group, for their team. They can pin it as the tab and use it from the desktop, from mobile, and etc. And again, they are getting the full, let's say, the model of Dataverse, which is, again, limited, restricted, but there is a full relational database, and there is a really easy upgrade path to the full Dataverse, to the full Power Platform license. If you would start adopting from the SharePoint side, it would be much harder to migrate to the full Power Apps license and full Dataverse, because you would need to do a technical migration. You would need to do changes in your code. And if you start inside the Teams, then there is no changes. It's very seamless, and that's a huge, big opportunity. And we see that Microsoft is really investing in this area. Okay. So first, it's tool for yourself as a technology which you can utilize and just make your Office deployments easier without needing to do real coding. Another scenario which you can approach and you can sell to the customer is a citizen developer concept. It means that citizen developer, which I mentioned at the beginning, it means that non-pro developers, they start building some apps or Power Automate flows for themselves, maybe for their team, and then it grows in adoption. They some of them become real developers, and that's also a good career path for some business folks which were interested in technology but then thought that they can do development. But it's a big opportunity for you as well as a partner, because you can provide consultancies, trainings, and you can assist them with the technical setup of all the environments and security monitoring, and also the processes, how they would be developing, deploying in secure way. Because I probably will repeat it a couple of times, but Power Platform, from one side, the pitch is fast, quick, citizen developer, everybody can do, and that's very cool, and that's kind of true. But if you want that process would be smooth, that it wouldn't be banned by your IT administrators after some time due to security breaches or due to unmanageability, that everybody's not developing apps in your organization and IT admins don't know what's happening and they can't control the situation. So you as a partner can be assisting and setting up the whole processes of DevOps, of ALM, monitoring and security model, assisting IT administrators to set up it correctly, enable what is business critical data, what's allowed to use, which connectors allowed to use, which is not, where they can connect, and etc. And that could be a overall really good opportunity. And when customer employees of your customer starts building some simple apps themselves, they probably, and you are assisting them, they probably would come back to you asking, hey, we got into some more complex thing. We are not able to manage ourselves. Can you help us? So this is one of the paths how you can get into the customer and sell this model of citizen developer inside the organization for them. One of the tool provided by Microsoft is, which you can utilize, is so-called App in the Day workshop. It's possible just to download. It's prepared for the materials and labs and etc. So where you can pretty easily prepare yourself, your technical pre-sales people and or trainers inside your organization, and do this App in a Day workshop with your customer, so that as the tool to enable the citizen developer framework in the organization, or just to show that it's pretty easy to develop apps and it's very nice technology integrated across Microsoft Cloud, non-Microsoft Cloud, and it's manageable and etc. And you might, by showing this flexibility of the technology, you might sell some projects to the customer as well, because they would get more trust in this. And each of those scenarios I would append with the upsell opportunities is mainly, again, looking more from the licensing perspective and services perspective. So if today you are Modern Workplace partner and you are selling Microsoft 365 licenses, of course you can probably attach something from Azure services. Even if you are adopting the citizen developer or you are just extending Office and Teams, you still can utilize Azure services, because, for example, Dataverse in Teams, it has connectivity, API connectivity to Azure, and you can build some Azure services there as an APIs, which would be utilized in your Power Apps inside the Teams. And on top, you would sell Azure services as well. But of course, if you are adopting deeper into the customer this Power Platform notion, there is a big opportunity to go onto the full Power Platform license. If they stuck, if they bothered with the limit, all the limits, which is comes with this embedded license. So you can upsell and upgrade them to the full Power Platform. And Power Platform itself, it again connects to many Azure services, and also next to the main license, there are many capacity add-ons. And if they exceed capacity, if they adopt more and more platform, they would need those capacity add-ons next to it. And of course, it could go this path or through Power Platform probably. It could be an opportunity for you to grow business also into CRM biz apps area, because technically it's kind of the same. Of course, you need to understand the processes, but if you get technical competency, you train here, you train here. So it's pretty easy to move over and start adopting CRM competence with the same skills and with the same people you have. Couple of scenarios, probably I already touched them when it comes to Office 365. So extending SharePoint, like which previously was SharePoint, like forms, form editor, and etc. So now you can replace it with the Canvas apps. Again, different combinations of app which utilizing Excel and OneDrive, your personal OneDrive, your OneDrive for business. Teams, I already mentioned, it could be traditional app outside of Teams, just posting something or to the Teams, but it could be that the biggest power comes if you use that Dataverse for Teams and you host apps inside of the Teams. Yeah, those connectors allow you to connect to different sources and other Office 365 people cards and etc. Now let's jump over a bit from scenario 1 to scenario 3 and 4. I have combined 3 and 4 because from business side it's more or less similar. Technically it's different, but from business it's similar. So it's both about CRM and ERP app extension. And we have pretty, not the same actual blocks as we had for Office. So it's you get technology for easy extension of Dynamics 365 apps. You can sell and adopt to customer citizen developer concept. And of course, when you adopt deeper, you can go into upsell opportunities. Now, when it comes to CRM and ERP licenses, we talked about enterprise licenses, not professional, for CRM apps. So you are getting restricted, but not limited. It means you get full technical power of Power Platform, Power Apps, and Power Automate, but you can use them only in the context of your business application. It means Power Automate should be triggered from one of your data tables. It should be hosted on the same environment. It should be connected to the business logic of your CRM or ERP apps. Yeah, so other thing, so probably like CRM developers, it's for them it's very native because Power Platform was kind of evolved from the CRM engine technically, so it's kind of very familiar tool for CRM developers. For ERP, probably not so much, but looking into your team efforts and your when you think about hiring more and more developers, so maybe Power Platform could be an answer because it allows low-code development. And of course, you have to understand the processes and business logic behind, but you can do many things easier, and maybe your I don't know, consultant can do simple apps or simple flows instead of asking and waiting for pro developers. I don't say that we need to eliminate developers, but I think the market, as also presented at one of initial slides, that in a huge shortage of professional developers. And there are so many apps and business cases which are not covered by implementation because there were always not enough of the budget, not enough of the resources, and etc. So they were just hanging in the air, and people were doing very repetitive tasks or doing it by hand manually, and etc. and wasting the brain power to very areas where they systems could do automatically. So now it helps even Business Central and finance and operation developers a faster approach how they can do extensions. It opens a new opportunities how they can easier build the mobile apps related to the ERP platform and etc. So again, it's a reminder, you have the license, utilize it and see and try to use that power. Again, the same if you have CRM or ERP apps deployed on the customer side, probably have already business running and etc. But you can look further. So probably they're asking for many small things for you. Maybe you are just dropping them off and saying, okay, we can't do this. This is too small, not interesting for us. So again, you can work with the customer and enable their citizen developers to do small apps themselves on the data, on the big picture you are implementing ERP and where you have focus and etc. And let them play with the small scenarios themselves, and probably they will feel the power. And again, the citizen developer concept later can be grown into the full Power Platform, the Xram scenario. Again, the upselling opportunities from the biz apps, as I mentioned, you can go to the full Power Platform if you want to develop the disconnected apps. If you want to automate the data which is not living inside of CRM or ERP apps. And also a scenario with the RPA, probably if you deal with the robotic process automation. So if you deal with ERPs, other systems integrations, you probably may hit into some legacy systems where you can't integrate. So RPA could be one of the solutions for that. And again, it could be totally different area for you to discuss with the customer how to integrate all those legacy systems together, how to automate business processes, especially repetitive business processes customer is doing and employees are struggling with. So scenarios, maybe something already covered. So CRM apps are model-driven app itself. Then we can do Canvas apps and embed them into like CRM-based apps or ERP apps, or we can launch Canvas apps as a separate, very flexible form, because on Canvas app we can play with all the design. We can do anything there, any type of buttons, scanners, media controls, and etc. we can position. When we are developing CRM or ERP apps, we are very forced into very specific layout, very specific forms and fields, and etc. So Canvas app can be an answer for that. More flexible design, for example, product configurator, where we need to do many clicks, drag and drops or something. Canvas app can be an answer for that. And also, if you need mobile scenarios, so it could be a scenario possibility to utilize that. Connectivity in the backend. Probably here is not mentioned, but also I didn't stop so much into the Power Apps portals, which again one part of the Power Platform. And portals allows us to expose your data to external users because normally like CRM, Power Apps is for internal usage because you have to use it with your Office 365 account. But if you want to do a self-service portal to your customers, to your partners, and knowledge base or vendor portal or something, so Power App portal is there. And for CRM, of course, it's much easier because it runs on the Dataverse. But for ERP apps, it's as well. You can integrate through Dataverse integration, and then you can expose that data. And again, it could be a tool for you how to get into external users. And now, we covered the first, third, and fourth scenarios, which comes with the existing license. And now let's check how we can upsell and how can we grow business. Because probably in the first scenario, we speak about modern workplace partners. In the right-hand side, in the third and fourth, we speak about business apps partners. But how to utilize this new upcoming opportunity with the Power Platform. And I would say that's the main two scenarios. It's Xram Platform and all the integrations and DPA, RPA scenarios. Okay, so let's get into the Xram. So Xram allows us to build totally custom apps for customer. So as the software developer, as the vendor, you can pretty easily create new solutions, applications, and very well integrated with other parts of infrastructure, customers' infrastructure. You can become an ISV. It means you can you found that your project with the law firms went very well. You developed couple of law firms. You can make a one solution and deploy it to distribute it through AppSource and reach the worldwide audience with that. You can, as I'm not sure if Microsoft is still using this term, system integrator. You might not be going into the big development, but you can say, hey, look, the app source is full of different vendor apps. Some free, some are not, some are simple, some are very complex. We might help you to find the right app for your needs and to deploy it to help you to address something what already exists on the market. And we can help you to deploy into your organization technically and from the process-wise. So Xram term, I just want to stick a bit. Probably we have some Microsoft folks on the call. They don't like it when I'm speaking. I will try to explain why I'm using it. It's old term. Microsoft introduced it with a CRM a while ago in 2009. And it was idea that, in the before on the left side, you see that it was CRM, dynamic CRM as an engine. And people realized that it's very easy to extend. Okay, so we extend the CRM itself, but we can easily create a new app next to it because we already have some data inside about the customers. Let's do vendor management. Let's do supplier management. Let's do HR, simple HR. Let's do simple ERP. Let's do some event management system. Wherever we just drop new tables, those are linked to others, and then we get forms and etc. Everything in one place as our central business platform, and that was very cool. And this concept was really was marketed and more or less adopted, and those who really adopted were very, very happy with this. Of course, recently the term has been dropped, and it's not used anymore in marketing nowhere. Just it remained in technical layer because all the libraries and everything is still named with the Xram and the tools and etc. But I really like the concept because. And I just will explain why. Because conceptually, it's still the same. It means you have very simple tool to create new apps and get them connected together. We'll get back to this in the next slide, but also explaining how it was before. So before we had a CRM engine, we're able to do customizations of CRM. We were able to deploy ISV solutions based targeted for CRM, like marketing, others like document generation and etc. And this Xram solutions were totally new apps connected to CRM data, but something different, etc. But now, as I already mentioned, that on the right side, now we have this picture where in the bottom we have Power Platform and Dataverse engine, because what Microsoft did, the Power Platform and Dataverse, actually, it's parts of it coming from CRM technical layer. Of course, parts are something that's coming from SharePoint and etc. But technically, when it comes about app creation, it's the same concept. And today you don't need the CRM. You just can start doing this Xram thing on top of Power Platform and Dataverse. And the license difference is tremendous, because you can start to build the first app with a $10 license, and with probably the promotions which are appearing now, it could be even cheaper. When, of course, the full CRM apps, one of the app, the cheapest is $50 for user, but with the professional licenses, you're not getting the Power Platform. Anyway, so now it just opens the bigger window of opportunity for us to build Xram solutions. And for me, it's hard to find some modern term for that, because usually people just call it Power Platform, custom apps, and etc. But again, it gets confused with the Power Platform within Office, Power Platform within CRM, which I'm now trying to deconstruct and explain to you. So Xram, I probably it's a good term when we speak about totally custom applications. And the benefits, again, to implement full-featured Xram, we need centralized data store, and this is Dataverse, X Common Data Service. And why it's good? Because and the organizations and companies I worked for, when they start building up on top of that, they feel such a big power that, for example, if we see in this database diagram, so with the Dataverse, we automatically get entities tables predefined, the standard ones like accounts, contacts, activities. They're just coming out of the box the standard way as it would be inside the CRM. And you can start using them even without CRM and start utilizing all that logic Microsoft implemented. Then you can deploy in the same environment, you can deploy Dynamics 365 Sales, Dynamics 365 Service. You can connect your ERP apps through the virtual entities, and ERP data like invoices or items or something would appear in the same data store. And then you can start building your own apps like supplier management, your own custom application. You can download something from AppSource and deploy, and etc. And the big power that all the data is together. You can easily link, okay, we have central entities like customers, contacts, orders, opportunities, something. They live there together, and any new app I'm building, I'm very easily just connect to existing. I need the list of customers. It's just there. It lives in the same database. It's so easy to start building new things, and more you build, more you grow, the bigger benefits you feel, and it's so then natural because you don't need to integrate anything. Like if you would have the separate systems living outside of Dataverse, you probably would need to start integrating. Integrations, it takes time. Probably you need developers and etc. And again, it gets frustrated, and in the end, you end up with Excels and or importing, exporting, or doing double entries through the systems. And this approach is really good, and this is really good opportunity for you to talk to your customers. And this is really big benefit of having your central place for all your business data and your business apps together, whether it comes from Microsoft, from you, from third parties, the tables and the apps itself. About the Dataverse, I already mentioned a bit. It's not just database, it has much more. It has security, logic, modeling, search. It's brilliant search integrations, out-of-the-box integration to SharePoint. You can easily do attachments to your any record to the customer, just lands in SharePoint and etc. It gets the mobile web apps in it. You can utilize them in Teams as well. Okay. And I already mentioned that when you start building your custom apps, you probably would go two paths. Either you do it specifically for one customer, maybe you start repeating it from one to another, some reusing something, or you are going ISV path. Of course, probably before you either should have really good idea or already deployed a couple of custom apps for specific customers. But again, keep in mind that it's always the possibility from projects you can get into really productization and start distributing your apps through the App Store, App Source, which is Microsoft App Store for business applications. And again, how it was before with the Xram, you don't need the full CRM. You can do it with much cheaper license directly on Power Platform and Dataverse. Okay, just a screenshot from App Source. Let's say a couple of apps which are coming, and also something from our region. I see some ISVs already deploying and distributing apps through App Source. And of course, when you adopted this Xram scenario with the full Power Platform capability, as I mentioned, it's always some Azure services available and different types of add-ons. If you exceed API calls, if you need artificial intelligence connections, anything, so you can extend and you can sell many different additional services next to it. And from standard Power Platform, there is a path to upgrade to RPA scenarios, or if you adopted it, let's say you was a modern workplace partner, you adopted full Xram, full Power Platform, and then you can go to BizApps and you can move to a CRM, because technically it's kind of the same, and you can reuse that knowledge. Okay, so now we finished with two embedded scenarios. Then we went to Xram scenario with a full Power Platform, power of Power Platform. And now let's check the upper two layers, like integrations. Integrations, of course, first it's technology for you. Power Automate, that's one thing. There are lots of data connectivities, connections, connectors, and you can do integrations with the Power Automate yourself. Dataverse, I mentioned, it has many integrated tools, like you can set up database level integrations from other sources, like constant imports and etc. directly to Dataverse. Canvas apps can be like aggregator of different data, like in the same app, like data physically lives in a different sources and different databases, but you can launch the Canvas app and you say that I have the customer, which comes from CRM. then I can show its orders from ERP. And I would like to see his more data about it, because maybe I'm sales representative. So via connector, I can connect to LinkedIn and pull some data from there. I can connect to some, I don't know, some third-party APIs to, let's say, check the credit score for that customer I'm going to visit. Again, Canvas app can connect to many different sources from one interface. So you see kind of nice layout and all the data, but it could be coming from totally different sources. And that's one approach, how you can integrate data and reuse it from different sources. Again, if you start, let's say, integrating the similar paths, capacity add-ons, RPA, and business applications. Samples I probably already mentioned. Canvas apps and also Power BI can be used here as well, because Power BI has its own data sources to connect to different data and then to visualize all of them together. And the last scenario is RPA and DPA. So what is that? So DPA is what Microsoft lived already for a while. It's digital process automation. So it's about it's Power Automate flows, which we have it for a while, and we can connect with the many connectors to cloud and on-premise systems. And why it's called digital? Because now in the portfolio, Microsoft got very strong tool to cover RPA scenarios, robotic process automation, and this happened with the acquisition of Softomotive last year, and it was pretty fastly integrated into platform. And today, Microsoft has already very connected story how you can do automations with modern systems, APIs and connectors, like you did, probably for some time. But now on top, next to it, you can do robotic process automation, and you can connect to the apps which don't have APIs, or maybe APIs are not provided, and etc. And what is that RPA? RPA is the Power Automate desktop tool, which you can record the session, how you use the application with your hand. Then you can update the recording with the low-code development or some iteration cycles and etc. Or you can do it unified, not saying that click in this place, but you can click that button whenever. It doesn't matter in which place it is, and fill out some forms for me, or maybe do some scraping from the web systems and etc. and download some data where I have account, but before somebody from my team was just going and copy pasting and that data, and now I can just build a tool, a robot for that. And so what we see here, of course, is a huge opportunity. What we see here, that there is some kind of convergence of Microsoft and non-Microsoft partners happening. Of course, for Microsoft older partners, it's a great new tool to expand your coverage, to integrate with legacy systems right away, and etc. But for partners who were doing robotic process automation before with a Softomotive, other competitive tools, and now they find that, okay, Microsoft is really not just acquired and dropped it somewhere, but it's really integrating into the bigger picture, into the bigger platform, and they feel the power that they can start cooperating with Microsoft and doing RPA with this tool. They can extend their portfolio not only from robotic process automation, but they can start doing Power Platform apps, and they can start integrating with a CRM or ERP businesses. So it's a huge entry for those partners as well, and we see a really big interest here, and we wish a big luck to empowering and getting into all this technical huge technical opportunity, and just empowering it for your customers. So as I mentioned, so RPA is more about connecting with the systems which don't have APIs, or it's maybe too complex to implement, or your system administrators just lock the APIs and they don't allow. Of course, don't do that. Always be friends with them, system admins. Otherwise, you get in trouble soon. But yeah, sometimes it happens. It's called shadow IT and etc. When businesses start to get their own tools if their IT departments are too slow, and this happens. But anyway, the advisory is that you should be aligned in any case. So there are many scenarios which RPA opens, like processing physical documents. You're scanning something, you just putting into some folder, and then RPA can pick your scanned documents. There is artificial intelligence automatically embedded there, so they can recognize that this is the invoice, and they can process invoice, find the sender receiver amounts, and automatically submit those invoices to your ERP or to other systems, financials or third-party systems. You have to do that. For example, you have to fill in your tax reports or something very oftenly, and you have to do your finance analysts have to do it manually. So that's an opportunity. You just pull the data from the database and go there. You don't have, let's say, API. Just create a robot who would do this data submission for you. They will connect with your account, and it's very very common scenario. Okay, so now I'm done with those adoption scenarios. If we recap, so we can start with a modern workplace, office, and Dynamics 365 business applications. We can utilize the technology because we have the license. We can educate the customer. We can show the power. We can grow them, the citizen developer concept, grow in their organization. And then we can get into this Xram scenario where we can build or deploy your own or third-party apps. And then all the integrations, process automation, RPA, which comes on top. Yep, so I don't see any questions. So everything probably clear. You can start probably now already contemplating this approach. You can start publishing questions. And while you do that, I'll move to the very recent updates, which are coming from Microsoft Ignite, which happened earlier this month. This is IT Pro conference. Of course, it happened online, but there were a couple of really nice and interesting announcements made by Power Platform team during that event. And the first team it's totally connected to what I spoke recently. It's RPA, Power Automate Desktop, what Microsoft did. And again, it shows huge commitment into this area. Again, acquisition, it's so quickly integrated into big picture. Instead of kind of separate product, separate name, it becomes just Power Automate Cloud Flows and Desktop Flows. So what Microsoft announced, that they now are giving away Power Automate Desktop for free for all Windows 10 users. for, let's say, individual use. It means that you can download this tool on your desktop. It's a physical tool. You can start automating your own personal tasks for of course for your company and maybe personal, I don't know, but yeah, it's allowed for to use for commercial use. But it means you start building and automating that. Let's say I'm doing I don't know, every day have to send I know, some birthday greetings. Maybe I can automate that. Maybe I have to every day to send some checkup to my customers. I have an Excel list. I can record how to send one email in this tool, and then I can make an cycle iteration that let's send that email for every line in my Excel, and it will be a big help for me. And with this, you can start utilizing and adopting that concept of automation, and you can become a citizen developer, because it also uses some low code development inside. It's not only about recording, but then you can start playing and doing more powerful. Of course, once you want to share it with your team, once you want to that others would use it as well, and etc., then already you need to get the license. But start playing, start automating your personal tasks. That was announced, and that's really bold position from Microsoft, showing how they're committed to this area. Next thing was announced. It's Microsoft Power FX programming language. It's not so that it's totally new language, but Power Platform and Canva, especially Canvas apps, had this formula type of language, and it didn't have a name. Everybody was asking, what kind of programming language is that? So now Microsoft is combining this formula language, which was coming from Canvas apps, and combining with the Excel formulas and making Power FX language, which will be more and more adopted in different areas inside the Power Platform. In the model-driven apps, for calculated fields, for a business logic, for the plugins, and etc. So it means that you will start learning this formula-based low-code language, and soon it will be distributed and adopted in more and more places. And yeah, you can really reuse components and etc. And also what they're making it open source. It means again that the community will be able to support and contribute and provide, which would dictate that it will get in a higher quality very soon. Probably not very specific announcements, but again, repetitive reminder that Microsoft is committed to Power Platform integration to Teams. What I mentioned, that inside engine, which is running there. So it's not only about apps, but it's Power Automate as well. It's Power BI and Power Virtual Agents. All the Power Platform components, they're living inside the Teams. And other area where Microsoft is heavily investing is the governance and data loss prevention. So many new granularity levels for IT admins, how to support, how to on deeper granularity permit or allow or deny the specific connector usage, maybe specific action usage or specific endpoints. Let's say we allow to use to connect to databases, but only 3 databases inside of our organization, nothing more. Let's say, or we can allow to download data from LinkedIn, but we don't allow to post anything. Let's say, not to export our company data, and etc. So much better visibility into the monitoring for Power Platform is coming in, built in directly into the admin console. So as I mentioned, that it's very easy to start building apps and etc. But later it's easy to fail when you want to grow in the complexity and the process wise. App Insights, again, it's more technical thing, but it's from the same area that now you would be have much better visibility in the apps, Canvas apps execution, and to be able to track and trace custom events and etc. So it's much better troubleshooting and support for your customers, because that areas were a bit lacking, and maybe sometimes it was reason why some customers didn't adopt it. So Microsoft is addressing that area. And again, that was a reminder where key investment areas for the Power Platform in the roadmap in the upcoming cycles. So it's again enterprise trust, artificial intelligence everywhere, remote work. It means integration with the teams, bigger and more. Fusion teams, it means citizen developers and pro developers can work together in more seamless way. They're still improving that area. And hyper automation, so it's Power Automate cloud flows and desktop flows with the robotic process automation. It's getting into higher connectivity between each area, each part. Yep. So now I covered more kind of architectural technical part of in which we will be communicating and supporting you during this program. It means when you have to make a decisions, which path to go, which Canvas or model-driven app, which scenarios to adopt, which not, what are upsell opportunities, and etc. And now let's take a bit look into the team structure. If you are creating the new competence and starting from zero, or maybe upskilling your office consultants, or maybe business application consultants. So I just want to again make the picture how we see the team structure and etc. And as I mentioned, so that's probably the big picture in your organization. So, and we don't, as the partner, you probably don't speak only about technical knowledge, but you also need to have this trained salespersons who could do the pre-sales, who can do pitching. You saw it's pretty complex. It's these pre-sales are kind of technical part, and salespeople also should be trained and prepared to explain what that Power Platform is, what are the benefits, and what customers can get, and just try to match and map when it actually works and when it solves customers' problems. And now, if we go to a delivery or support team, of course, there's always the question: what kind of team it should be, what kind of roles there should be. It's very hard to define, because again, when it's standard development, so probably we say that, okay, we need one senior developer, like 2 mid developers, like 3 junior developers, maybe part-time architect. Somebody will be a scrum master in our team, then maybe test automation engineer, and that will be our team. Now, with this low-code development, it's a bit more complex, because it seems theoretically one person can do many things itself, and cover different areas. So I'm just trying to split it into the different competencies. So in the center, we have 2, let's say, core competencies, or the most full-time competencies, who would be doing actual work and delivery of the project, if we speak about app development or Power Automate solutions, RPA projects, or something. So we have one competence which is analytical. So we have to collect requirements, we have to demo things, we have to suggest solutions, how to solve business problems, we have to train users and write manuals and etc. Then we have low code development, where we actually build an app. Of course, probably collecting more technical requirements as well, part of that competency. Configuration, customization, creating tables, databases, actually doing that low code thing and troubleshooting, understanding why it doesn't work, what's wrong, and etc. So those are two core competencies. And then, of course, other are equally important, and you should think about them as well. I'm always mentioning architectural competency. It could be a part-time, but it's very, very important, because architectural decisions you make at the beginning, and later when you move over with the project, you might feel that, okay, we made a wrong decision at the beginning by choosing, but it will be the same canvas or model-driven app. And now we struggle because we can't do this, we can't do that, and either we should stop project and revert it back. And those architectural decisions are very important at the beginning and also throughout the development itself, because its architect can get the high-level requirements, he can propose the high-level structure or connect which services to use, which not to use, and etc. And then another competency, which again sometimes is forgotten, is design or user experience, especially if we are talking about Canvas apps or Power BI solutions as well. We need to do all the visual elements and layouts, everything ourselves, because if it's model-driven app, so we just get it. Of course, we can think about UX, but maybe good analysts can do that as well. But if it comes to Canvas app, we need colors, layouts, buttons, pictures, icons, and etc. Transitions from one screen to another, and fonts, and how to combine everything. We should do it ourselves. Of course, we can use some templates, but if we want to somehow to reflect company style and etc., so we need a designer there. Of course, project management, natural, managing scope and deliverables and etc. Then, of course, I already mentioned about that fusion teams, that Microsoft enables Power Platform to very easily combine low-code and pro-code development. If you're stuck with a low-code, pro developer can come in and create some APIs for you, which you can connect and consume that. If we are going to model-driven apps, so probably maybe we'll need some plugins written in a .NET. Maybe we'll need a JavaScript to append the form, and etc. So pro developer is also needed in this picture. Of course, testing could be done by the same people or a dedicated one. And DevOps, it means the support, deployment, and monitoring of how the app is used, or the processes, automation, and fixed and troubleshoot, and etc. So it's also a very important role, and it should be covered at the beginning of the project. And again, it doesn't mean that all those boxes should be a separate people. It could be combined. And let's say this is a sample of the team, let's say of two main people, mainly covering those low code and analyst part. Let's call it application consultant and technical consultant who are doing that work. They're covering each other, like application consultant can do some, maybe he can create the app layout, and maybe he can create, or she create the database tables. And maybe technical consultant can gather requirements and do demos as well. So they can work very closely to each other and cover those core competencies. And then, of course, maybe application consultant can do project management as well. Maybe technical consultant is pretty competent to do some pro code development and create some simple JavaScripts and etc. But let's say those are permanent full-time roles working on the project, and these are important roles, but they are, let's say, coming maybe part-time at the beginning or at the end of the project or somewhere, because designer competency, usually it's a kind of a specific. Architect is usually a senior person who knows many connections, interconnections, and knows the impact of some decisions and technology usage and etc. And pro developers, usually they're strong in what they do, and they not often like doing the low code development because it's not so fancy for them. So of course it's very good area to for consultants and other specialists to upgrade and become a low code developers. That's very good opportunity. But again, if they stuck, because in the end they're using the same concepts, variables, conditions, cycles, and etc. And pro developers can come help them, even to train and to consult them, and of course DevOps to support and etc. And this is just sample. It's just combining different competencies from this area into such a sample team. Again, I'm just repeating once more and more time. And again, if you're starting competency from scratch, again, it's probably easy to start, but try to get somebody from IT projects into your team. Maybe pro developer, maybe some architect, even part-time, and etc. Somebody who already delivered projects before, because even though it's easy to code, but all the cycle of development, how you gather requirements, how you update, how you deploy, how you test, how you do change management, etc. Those concepts are the same. Maybe you don't need to get so advanced into each of that, but the concepts are the same. So if you get somebody who know how IT project works, it would be really strong support for your team. And again, try to apply those processes which are used in the custom development. I mean, the pro development projects, like application lifecycle management, DevOps processes, of course, like source controls and deployment, different environments, and etc. You just need a small piece, but again, keeping the same processes would help you to nurture this business in the long run, because otherwise you deploy one app, other app, and then you don't manage the app's monitoring part, how you deploy, you fail with the updates or something, and then you just lose the trust in your customer eyes. So it's very important. And of course, try to use agile methodologies always when possible. It means release fast, do small iterations, gather small piece of requirements, show it to customer, and do the development in cycles. That's just one big good practice from traditional development projects. So it's really worth to apply it in this low-code development projects as well. Now, as we're speaking about the teams and team setup, and it's natural twist to certifications, because in this program we will be helping you to certify your employees to the just initial Power Platform certifications. This is a big picture. Actually, I see that there's already some things have changed in the number parts, but conceptually it's not changed. But it's totally reflects the architectural part, as I showed that before we had CRM, and now we have the Power Platform separated, taken out of CRM, and this how all the more technical certifications there in the bottom, now called Power Platform Developer Associate, Consultant Associate, and etc. Because before it were CRM certifications, and now for CRM part it just left certifications like MB 210, 220. It's specifically about actual applications inside the CRM, like sales, marketing, customer service, and field service. And all the platform side, how to in general create any type, whether it will be CRM based model-driven app or any other, or Canvas app, and etc. Now everything is on the Power Platform. And of course, in the same family, there is all other certifications for FNO and Business Central, and etc. So maybe this is a better picture about purely about Power Platform certification. And first, it's fundamentals. PL 900 is just get familiar with the Power Platform, understand all the pieces of that. And the next steps are, let's say, the first level of development is so-called Power Platform App Maker, so it's PL 100. There is also DA 100. This is for Power BI analysts. And then it goes more into pro usage. So PL 200 is kind of consultant for Power Platform who knows how to create mainly about model-driven apps and do the modifications to existing apps and etc. And PL 100 is a pro developer. And then, okay, in this slide is still also mentioned MB 600, but Microsoft is replacing it with the PL 600. So it's about the architect who can collect all the requirements and define the solutions and etc. And in this Power Platform Upscale program, which you are now applying for, we'll be focusing for two main certifications. You can pass one or other. So it's PL 900, it's more intro, or PL 100, it's more about already making the Power apps. And these are the main objectives of the both of them. And in our program, we thought to combine this thing in the way that, normally the trainings you can get, there are many self-study trainings and etc. And usually you always start with the Canvas app, probably. Maybe model-driven apps, it's rather rarely. But then many other areas are being left untouched, like artificial intelligence, virtual agents, portals, and model-driven apps as well, and also maybe Power BI a bit. And to pass the certification, you need to understand all of those areas. So we will design it this way that we'll do some self-study before to cover those most popular topics, because there are tons of materials out there about how to just create Canvas app or model-driven app, how to work with the Dataverse. But then in our program, we'll focus more on those advanced topics, which are not so commonly focused or touched in other areas, or people just forgot or just don't go so fast. So which would increase your success criteria to certify and pass those certifications. And yeah, that's it from my side. Long presentation where I covered the technical part, all the scenarios, coming up to the full Power Platform as Xram, then all the integrations and process automations. Then we checked news from Microsoft Ignite, where we see lots of investments and continuous big roadmap for this platform, and also especially in, let's say, RPA, where now everyone can download and use and start using it and learn it on their Windows 10 machines. And lastly, we just took a view into the team structure and certifications, and I explained a bit how we'll be covering it during our program. So if you have any more questions, please put them in. And again, a reminder to apply for this program. Agni already mentioned about the time frames and timelines. I don't remember, but I think that the window is pretty short now. So submit your application, and we together with Microsoft will review, and Microsoft will select the ones who will be participating in this program, and where we'll help your employees to get certified or build your solutions so that you can start the new business line, start selling new licenses, and etc. So thanks a lot for those who survived. And I'm not sure if we have any more questions. Not yet. Maybe a small reminder about handouts. In the handouts section, there is a PDF for our acceleration program, from which this Upscale program is derived, where we define it together with Microsoft. Okay, so a couple of hands were raising up. Not sure if you wanted to ask anything. Sarah, if you want, just probably type your questions in. And oh, okay, that's probably was about access. Okay. So, if don't see any new questions coming in, sure. Agne, do you want to just come back for a final goodbye? Okay. Getting some questions. Read more. Thanks for listening and staying for so long. Hope it was not so boring. Okay, so there's a question when companies will be chosen for the Upscale program. Okay, to answer that, I have to scroll back a bit. Sorry for a quick move, but I'll just see one of the initial slides. From Agne. Okay. Okay, where was the timelines? Okay, so application, you should place application till the end of this month, and then on April 7th, we'll announce the ones who were selected. How many companies? It depends. Probably we'll see how to fit by profile or something, but it's something around 10.
Hey, Tautvydas. I managed to restart the browser and to get back to the event. Yeah, thank you for handling the question. Currently, we have 10 seats within the program, and that will be up to Microsoft to select, the 10 ones that need most of the support. The selection process, we believe, will be over by April 7th. At that point in time, One Click Factory will reach out to everyone with an information on the next steps to move forward.
Okay, so I guess we covered all the questions and used almost all the time. So probably just big thanks everyone for listening, and let's hope to meet you in the program. So I'll be making the most part of the sessions and trainings, and Agne will be joining me as well. So you already know the team with whom you'll be working.
Thank you for your time and have a very nice rest of the day. Goodbye.
Bye.